Hello everybody, this is an impromptu video. My name is Marie Sarasso, founder of Forensic Healing, and I was just wondering if you're like me and watched 1,000 videos on this coronavirus and still not sure which one to believe, which one to follow, what's the cover up, what's going on. Well, I too have watched a lot of videos, so I just want to put my 2 cents worth in, so take what works and leave the rest. But I want to make this a positive ending for you. I want you to use this opportunity to create a new blueprint. Hey, Rachel. So what I've done is I've got some notes here, and I thought, well, I really would love to make a statement on this because I feel like I've been trained in going through these tough times, having gone through many tough times. So let me just first of all give you a bit of a summary of some well-known people that have like David. First of all, I'll start with David Wilcock. Now he did an announcement, live announcement yesterday, and his view of this coronavirus outbreak was positive. He was going, well, exciting times are ahead and it's an opportunity that everyone's in lockdown and that there's going to be mass arrests of all the pedophiles and the Satanists and the deep state. So my nose is now running, so that's like a healing sign. But anyway, so yeah, we've all been trained for this time. That's true. Hey, Fran. So anyway, I'm just going to get back to, okay, so David Wilcock, which is nice that he had a positive outlook on it. But, you know, I want to give you both angles. So he's like, you know, deep state are going down. And he quoted QAnon, which does the Q drops, which is supposed to be this anonymous, you know, an anonymous group that posts truths about the deep state. Now, their last posts, and I'm not sure, so I don't, you know, I'm not 100% sure on anybody or anything except maybe a few things on how to overcome this. But QAnon said the last thing that he said, or they said, was nothing can, this is March 9th, nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. And then it says God wins. So that was the last thing they said, and people have been following those drops for a long time, and they've said that, you know, everything that they've said has really come true. But you know, anyway, that's what it says. I find it they use too many religious connotations in it, so that to me, you know, anyway. That's what, so David Wilcock was, you know, it's going to be, you know, like a clean out, new blueprint, things are sorting out. That was him. Then I watched David Icke today. Now, David Icke has been around for a long time. He's prophesied of these days. Now, I kind of was on, I liked what he said. He said that, okay, so he said, if you look at China, China is the future of us. So China are under, they have a thing that they rolled out in 2014, which was called, so they called it a social ranking for citizens. So social ranking means that you are monitored everywhere you go. And if you do anything negative, such as watch on social media for too long, post fake news, or you know, go through red lights, or you do all these things that are negative, you lose points. So if you lose points, then you'll be penalized, which means that you can't get certain hotels, you can't send your kids to certain schools, you can't get promoted at work, you can't get jobs. There's all these penalties if you don't do what they say. So China, that's what they do in China, and they said that will be fully functioning by 2020, which, you know, that's fact. That's how they operate. So that's kind of how he says, just that's how you can see the future. But anyway, so this is what he's saying about the coronavirus, which I totally agree. The coronavirus makes people susceptible to it if you've got a low immune system. So low immune system, the elderly, which we're seeing, which they would be affected by even the flu, people that already have compromised health. So what we're seeing, you know, there is an outbreak, but it can be equivalent to, you know, maybe a strong dose of the flu. And so people do die. And who knows, you know, the media, the mainstream media are putting out this news. So they can't be trusted. But I'm not saying that do what you got to do, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't protect yourself. But the thing is, what I loved about what David Icke said, he said, well, okay, so let's say 80% of the people who get no symptoms or get some cold symptoms, but just live and there's nothing wrong, that they just go on with their life. But we've got the 20% that are vulnerable. He says, why doesn't the world or the government, one, promote how to raise your immune system? So why isn't there news about, okay, everybody, if you've got a compromised immune system, you'll be affected. So these are some positive things. Let's see what we can do to lift the immune system on those that are vulnerable. And instead of isolating the whole world, let's just isolate compassionately the vulnerable and keep them protected. That's a much better way forward than, locking down the whole globe, which I agree. I said, I totally agree. The other thing is, so that is basically, yeah, so that's what I really agree with that. There is a better way to do this than, anyway, but look, it's okay. What I'm trying to get to is, I've noticed this in history, I've noticed this in my own life, in other people's lives, that the worst thing that happens to you can be the best thing for you. It will depend on what you do with it, but it'll also depend on the work that you've already done and how much work you've done on your consciousness, because at the moment, you are vulnerable to, you can't just go out on the street. If you're in lockdown, you can't go and have a business and have a restaurant. It's lockdown. More people aren't going. So a lot of your life now is in the hands of an outside force, but you have one thing, and that is your energy, your consciousness, and what you are going to do to transcend the situation. So now I'm going to give you my journey. Why I feel like we have been trained, as someone else said, I've been totally trained for this, because the universe has kindly taken everything from me not many times, but there have been times when I felt like I'd lost everything. And one time wasn't too far away, plus the outside influences of the current state of the banks and so forth are working against me. Every single thing worked against me. And the only thing that I had is that. So I'm just reading what someone says. I'll read that in a minute. The only thing that I had was my energy, and I worked 24/7 to change this energy. And I also started to, which I've been doing over the years. So it's like every time I do it again, I go to this new level. And I'd watched how the pattern that I was in was the fears of my childhood that I had kind of didn't access. And but I worked on every single area. I work on myself physically, emotionally, spiritually, and I build mantras. That's all I could do. All I could do. So, but when I did that, but I was consistent. I don't just do it for a week. I don't do it for a month. I have still been doing it for now a year and a half. So I was consistent in changing, and everything changed, and actually everything changed for the better. In fact, it got to this point now. Spread, no spray. Everything. So the universe had been guiding me. It's always talking to you. So it gave me some. I've had many bad other situations that were negative where I've just gone, I have to change something. Now, a recent one was when I was overseas, and I did a class, and I had somebody that was a narcissist in the class who went for me in the class. And so it was the worst feeling ever. And I was in shock. My body was in shock because it was a barrage of abuse at me. But I didn't react. I go, okay, universe, you're talking to me. What are you telling me? So when I came home, and anyone that's followed me will notice that all my workshops had final. I go, okay, universe, you give me a message. I'm finalizing my workshops. So what I'm just saying is that seemed bad at that point, but in fact I got the message. I'm going to pull back. And now I've only got 2 workshops that I need to navigate. They're overseas. I've got my New Zealand and Belfast, which we will sort something out. In fact, I've sorted something out with until I get to go over to New Zealand. We're going to do online. I'm going to train people to get through this difficult time that have signed up, and and this is the time that where you need to you can do things that all you've got is to do things energetically once you're stuck at home. So what I'm saying is the universe is always talking to you, and there's always a message, and it's leading you somewhere. The other thing is it's leading you to the emotions, beliefs, and thoughts that you have in your energy. So what's going to come out of this situation, which is completely dire for a lot of people, I can totally understand, and my heart goes out to them, is it's it's going to bring out whatever traumas and stuff you have in your body, and whether you overcome, and people that decide to rise up with the proper energy will create the better future. You will create something way better, and we need to unite, by the way. Yes, there's always a way, and this too shall pass. So I've noticed that the people that have been against me, you might think the deep state's against you, the cabal, this is all a cabal kind of thing, which it probably is, like it's a manufactured virus. It's totally, total lockdown and all that is going to, wreck the economy, which then makes us reliant back on the very people that have done this. But do you know what? I've noticed that the worst situations, the people that have been most against me, have been my biggest gift to shift my consciousness and to create better. And so when I'm sitting here in front of you, what we're going through now, I feel like I've already gone through it about 3 times. So I don't have fear because I just don't buy into it. I've decided, and I've trained my energy not to go into it. I'm still human. And of course you still have these things that you've got to sort out, but my is to rise above it and to say, if I go into it, then I'm not going to create the better outcome that I want. Now, our group, incredible. So I was going into our group. I did that poll where we had, what are your stress levels? Now, our group, which I'm so proud of because a lot of them are the forensic healers, they actually said, this is where 90 people say they've got very mild 1 to 2 out of 10 stress. Then the next level of people that responded were 35 plus. Oh, these are plus, so I don't know, there's probably a lot more people, was 0 to 10. Then the next were 3 to 4, which were 27 people. Moderate was 19 plus, and the high levels were 12. So the most stressed people were right at the bottom in our group. Now, this is another thing about why it is very important that you let everybody believe how they want to believe, and that's fine, they can be, but you need to choose people because their energy will affect you. You need to choose the people who are going to have that hope, who are going to see that this is a time to transcend and a time to, to be positive, to actually overcome. It's not just be positive. You actually have to release the fear and stress and trauma out of your body, because that's what we go on. And I think someone was made a comment in a message group. I think they said that this is reminding them, I think, on holidays. I didn't read the rest, but it's probably when they couldn't go on holidays or something like that. So all of this situation is going to, yeah, it's great, Ruth. She said a lot of positive things are coming out of this. So I've got to get back. I've got messages going left, right, and center. So the thing will be that we need to keep like-minded, because when I looked at that actually gave me so much more hope, because I'm not the only one wanting to stay good. Everyone else is good with me, and they build my energy. However, I was in a different group who are, do remedies on the coronavirus, and it says don't have any fear. But I went and posted that poll, and then they were highly stressed. And then I kind of, wish that and because they don't work on the energy side, it's just they want to just find a physical solution, which is okay and totally great. But I'm like, they didn't even want to know they weren't interested really, or appeared to be, on how do you actually then get to a group, how do I, they didn't actually question, how do I get to feeling no stress? There was no response when I just wished them well and go, well, that I've found another pole. I was trying to be diplomatic because I don't like to rub it in people's faces, but it was just good for me just to see that we got to let people choose, but you need to stay in that like-minded, because they will affect your energy. Now let's go on about how we are affected by energy. I've got plenty of stories about that. My recent story, which I say in my workshops, was great. It was awesome. I was in a workshop and I sneezed, and somebody said to me, yeah, let the sleepers sleep. And that's okay. I was sneezing, and that person said to me, oh, you're coming down with a cold. Now, they didn't mean anything wrong by it, but I felt the words come into my energy because I was healing people. My energy's open and I wasn't ready for it. And guess what? The very afternoon, and Sydney people know this, I came down with a cold. I was done. I was under. And the person said to me the next day, he goes, that was weird. That just came on like that. And it was only hindsight that I remembered the words just going in me, and I created the cold. I created it. So this is why our environment is paramount, because you can only to what people say and how they think and feel, because their energy is getting in your energy. And at the moment, we need, because this isn't, this is a big event, and you need as much positivity and as much elevation to create that better future, to create, to gain your power, to go, I am the creator. So this is really a spiritual test, because you have nothing, no physical forces that can help you. We've got no, there's nothing physical you can kind of do. All you can do is energetic. And because that's where I've been a few times, and I've created, I've gone, this is so possible. This is so possible. And I look at how the more I did that, and the more I worked with my crises in the past, the more it's led me to this moment where I'm online, I do energetic stuff. There's other projects that are going that are exactly for this environment. So yeah, so anyway, okay, so that's one thing, universal messages. The universe is always talking to you, so it's always going to lead you somewhere, but understanding what it's saying it's a dilemma. And I wrote a blog post on the danger of sending love and light to your enemies. But in that blog post, I had 13 reasons, and I quote them, why negativity can occur. So it's about, you need to be analytical about why something has popped up in your life. Like, for instance, that person, that narcissist, was perfect, it was awesome. It's the best gift ever, because I'm looking now and going, I would be probably more stressed if I had a whole list of workshops that I now have to navigate. And at the moment, Australia's fine. I've got one in Sydney, and Melbourne is already booked for next year. So that is fine. Melbourne's my hometown, and Sydney I love. The overseas ones where I can't get out of the country. And then you've got lockdown, which is more difficult, because if I've got lockdown, then there's all this kind of stuff. So anyway. Now, Shona says, afternoon, gracious Marisa. Hello, lovely. Thank you for your amazing love for our planet. Yes, paramount. Yes, it is totally a test. So let me just go back to some of my notes. So choice. So yeah, so this is your time that you have a choice. Now, I'm always the one that will say, because I've realized this in the past, and I've realized that my mindset, my determination, my beliefs create my reality, because I've been working on it. I didn't just wake up and go, oh yeah, I believe that. I've had to work on that. So I'm going to tell you a story, and I've told this in my training, and that was many years ago. And when I had a lot of heavy metals in my body. I've come from an abusive childhood, so there's a lot of toxicity and dark energy that I've had to overcome to get rid of pain, emotional pain, physical pain, and spiritual pain. And one time, this woman walked towards me, and I felt an entity come from her and enter my stomach. But I didn't pay attention to it, because this is a long time ago, and I was at an expo. Anyway, long story short, what ends up happening is I end up getting fibroids, because that entity grew into fibroids. And I said, And I didn't put two and two together. It was only hindsight, all of this. So I'm booked in to have a hysterectomy to get this out of my energy. And in the meantime, I started detoxing my body because I realized fibroids come from toxic liver, and I just thought, well, at least I'll do something because this is very uncomfortable, this situation. I just feel this bad energy in me. Long story short, I said because I'm good at this, I said even back then before, I don't know, forensic healing wasn't around back then. It was when I was quantum energy, so quite a while. I said, you know what, I'm going to come out of that operation, no pain. Nah, slam dunk it. I can do that. Mindset, whatever. So anyway, nothing flowed. I had the operation and I came out and it was bad. I had a bad nurse telling me to, like, couldn't care about me. And I was in serious pain. And then there was noise and I ended up, anyway, all this chaos and this pain. And it went up till 7 o'clock that night. And I ended up in my room where there's this kid making noise. But at 7 o'clock, the pain stopped, the noise stopped, everything stopped. And I had morphine, but I didn't need it from that point. So I got out, I think I got out of the operation maybe about 5 o'clock. And then it was 2 hours of the chaos and then everything stopped. And it was this entity that was going probably cut out of me, going nuts. And but at that 7 o'clock mark, my ex-husband at the time was at home and he said there was crazy stuff going on in the house, scratching in the walls, lights flickering. But he said at 7 o'clock it all stopped. So, and my pain stopped, never took the painkiller. Next day I'm doing healings in my room. And I'm just having a great day. I was actually having a bit of a party at the hospital. It was just like back onto the flow. So what I'm saying is that my toxicity prevented me from really working that was sort of the entities that hang on to heavy metals and hang on to negative emotions can block our ability to create. Hence why, I've done this huge journey of that cleanse and that detoxing and to gain my freedom, because for me, freedom is above everything. Because when you've got your freedom, then like that, but for me, that's everything. That's probably my biggest value. And I realize, and the freedom is then no more suffering. There's no more pain. There's no more physical, emotional, spiritual pain. And I think probably why I want freedom so much is because I've been in so much pain. So anyway, okay. So I just, so really, basically, if you say you're not going to get it, then you won't. Keep your immune system up. Yeah, okay, practice all your stuff that they tell you. But why you have this time is pivotal on what are you going to do with it? Where are you going to focus your energy? So that group that I'm actually going to jump out of, because is all about how to combat the virus, and there's so many people I've watched that are really fearful of it, and even spiritual people or people that are there to reveal truth are really worried about it and think that we all should lock down now, and all of this stuff. I'm not going to give you my definite opinion, but I'm going to give you this opinion. I think that it can be done differently, but it's not. So cool. But use this time to get where do you want to be? What is this future of you throughout this journey? What is it? You're going to have to go in and clean your body out. This is a time for, men relationships. There's a way that the universe will support you when you ask for it, when you say, you know what, work with me, universe. And when something negative happens, it's like wake up call. It's like, come on now. And I feel that those that haven't done a spiritual journey will really struggle because they don't understand those laws of attraction, and it'll be because there's nothing that can help them. Whereas if you believe and have had that connection with source and know that it's there for you, you have that hope and that freedom that this is your spiritual breakthrough, and that this can be the most freeing opportunity of your life. So again, and then create, let go, heal, love. Yeah. And I know that some people might say, well, that's all well and good. And they might go, look, I've got a restaurant and no one's turning up. I'm going to lose my livelihood. I'm going to lose a lot of stuff. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, but this is, You know, it's about what have you done. And so I think those that have really chosen that spiritual journey, and I'm looking, you know, at our results in our group, are going to get through it and fly through. In fact, if we can only be connected to people via energy and via, you know, distance, well, the healers who do distance healing, which are all our forensic healers, well, you're all good if that's, because you can carry on. In fact, there'll be more stressed people that will need this, but we really need to keep elevated and keep the end goal. What is it that you want? Because this scenario can turn into the best blessing, and it can turn into your, because it makes you then do something and make sure whatever you do isn't the fear. Because what is fear? It's an emotion. And what does it do? Pull more of what you don't want. How do you get rid of fear? Good question. Getting rid of fear, you need to heal, which is heal your fears from your childhood. You need to release all the traumas, because this will be traumatic for you. You need to be conscious of those thoughts and go back into the times that the universe was there for you. It was always there for you. So there's a lot of work on that. That's the meditating. There's so many aspects to it. There's so many aspects to focusing and being really aware. And that's, you know, it's a bit like the Joe Dispenza story. There he was. He's done this journey. Joe Dispenza, 23, has an accident on his bike. He's smashed up his spine. They want to put rods in it. He's a chiropractor. He thinks he could lose everything, and he thinks he's going to be in a wheelchair. Well, not thinks, but that's what they're predicting, you know. But he decided, he goes, you know what? I actually am going to do this, because he'd been, you know, familiar with energy work. And so he says, you know what? I'm going to actually heal myself. So all the odds were totally against him. So that's like, I'd say thinking that your future might be in a wheelchair and you might never work again might be worse scenario than this scenario for some people. Some people go, no, I think I'll like this scenario, because in a wheelchair is a life sentence. So, you know, we've all had opportunities to actually do this preparation. But what did we do in it? Did we continue going forward and removing these negative emotions? So Joe, as we know, the end story is, healed himself. I think it's in about 12 to 14 weeks. He used his mind, but he was so focused. And he said, I was never the same person again after it. Well, this is what you should aim for. Not be that same person. Decide what that person is. The person you want to be is that I am the creator of my life. I am the creator of my future. I am creating in my emotions, and the universe has my back, and all will be well. So imagine if we were in that. So what that does is that it actually blocks negativity. It makes that right person turn up. It makes that right scenario appear, that job that you can do. It actually creates all of that, because I've noticed the people that have qualify in how to be a great creator, they have good karma, they make sure they work on themselves, they do all those things. I watch how the right moments show up. It all is working. Whereas when it gets blocked and it's not, well, as long as you don't fall down that hole, you know, you keep turning around, and then you know, you just turn yourself around, and then that opportunity will finally show up, because you said, I'm not going in the hole. Or if I'm in the hole, I'm going to get back out of the hole. Okay, so that is, I think that I'm covering what to do. Yeah, turn your pain into your power. And and I think, yep. So I'm going to tell you what you can do, because this is what you're going to hear. You're going to hear people that say, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything. Oh my God, I don't know. They're going to tell you a bad story. So this is what you can do, because you don't want that bad story on you. Plus, you don't want to feel bad for them and let it sit there. You can say like this. You can go, they tell you their bad story, and you can say, I'm sorry. You say, you know what I see for you? I see you transcending this. I see this, you coming out of this, and this surviving this and coping with this and being much being freer or being able to have an income. I see positivity. You can do this. And that's what I see in your future. So that way it doesn't land on you, and you can shift that energy that they've dumped. You go, no, you can do this. You've got this. And you can relay it back like that, because you probably will start to hear the stories. And if that happens, that's what you can do because when someone keeps telling their negative story, they've just amplified the negativity for themselves. Fortunately, I haven't heard any bad stories, but they're there. I know they're there. And I know that, well, for those that want to transcend, will transcend. So I have to keep with the people that will want this and agree to this and use the laws, because if I'm trying to convince all these people that have their negative story that it won't work, I will go down with them, because they're more powerful than me. I can't, it's like me trying to go uphill all the time with a brake on. I'll say to somebody, hey, you know what, there is a way out. But you know, I have to go forward, but if you want to join me, come, but I can't stay in the hole, because that's not going to help anybody. Fear and negativity and having the chaos in the body does nothing. That is why this is all evolving, because we've been through chaos, we've been through trauma. This is a time to free yourself. So I think I'm going to see if I've got some more questions. Rachel, the way out of this is to go within. The answers will come. The universe will provide. Yes, looking inside. So see, heal, love. Everyone's got really good comments. Yeah, you're welcome. Mother Earth has started to heal already with, so well, in this, we've stopped polluting. The other thing is, I've got the bear barling seminar thing tomorrow for the bears in China, on the bears that get bear barled. I'm doing a healing for that. And, you know, ironically, you know, China, that's where they do it. And so I'm hoping this will shut down because they're blaming the animals on this virus. So I don't care who they blame, but they're blaming that it came from animals. So I'm hoping somehow there's enough pressure for them to shut down all of that inhumanity that they do to the animals. And that's the country where it's mandatory to test everything on animals. So anyway, I'm going forward. I'm elevated. I actually don't have stress about this, because I've done it. I've already gone to the scenario where I've lost everything. I've already gone to the scenario, so if I die, I die, which I'm not, because my gut always tells me where I'm at. And I would know. I just know. I've come to the conclusion that if I keep connecting with Source and the universe, the messages are always around me. I've learned this, which is also why I want to write my book on how to make sense of universal messages, how to create with this energy, and get more detail in a book. So, you know, for me, this is, well, nothing's really changed for me, because I was going to buckle down and get the book, and I've got another project running. So anyway, but I want to just send that little message out, you know, take what works and leave the rest. I want to, you know, be connected with your beautiful energy, send love to you, elevate you. We're here for you, and we will be different. We will be more connected to Source, because that's all we have, and Source will reward us with our freedom, a new blueprint, and we'll see, you know, we'll get through this, and this will be a new transition, because if we've always got through it, and we always will, and it will actually be something better. All right, so thank you for listening to my little view of everything. Here's to the energy to create, because remember, everything is sourced from energy. So when you work with the energy first, you get the outcome. But you need to keep on that journey. Time to wake up. Bless you. Take care. I'll see you soon.